Good afternoon, everybody. Robin, Mark, nice to see you guys.
Chris,
Nice
hi.
to see you,
Good to
Chris.
be back.
So everybody who's hopefully watching. Oh, hang on a second. I've got the got a reverb. Hopefully everybody who's joining us today, either live, if you do come along, please don't forget to leave any questions in the YouTube chat. We'll be more than happy to answer everything as best as we can. Also, if you are watching this as a replay, thank you, welcome. You will find a link to our Discord channel down below if you want to ask any of us any questions live in the group and in our community. If not, you can still leave questions on the video. We are monitoring those and we will do our best to answer everybody in the comments as well. So today we are catching up a little bit on April, which I'm quite amazed has disappeared so quickly, if I'm honest. But there was a lot going on, a lot's been happening. So we're going to break this down a little bit. But the first news, which is the big news, and we have alluded to this coming very, very soon, is that we have now closed our seed round. So Robin, if you would be okay with sharing a few of these details. This is the first time anyone's hearing the details, I will add. And there will be a blog post going live after this AMA. So this is the real exclusive right now. Robin.
Yeah, so we are very happy to close our seed round of $1.5 million. So this will give us a good amount of runway to work on our products and the project itself. This was a very important strategic round for us. So like we have a lot of strategic investors, for example, Ocean Protocol, and the founders of Ocean Protocol as angel investors, as well as many, many more important projects like Protocol Labs and so on, which are helping us, to push the project further, which are helping us with technology integrations, and also in a way as strategic investors advising us on how to do the project better. So yeah, this is really, really awesome. And it, of course, always a big question, how this works out. And we are very happy that all of this is fine, and we are now good to go for a longer time.
So there is a lot to be said about the strategic investors. And I know you've mentioned a few, especially Ocean Protocol side of things. Are there any other of the investors that you'd like to talk about a little bit? For example, I'm thinking of Outlier Ventures as well, for example.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, Outlier Ventures as our Basecamp facilitators, they're also invested in us. For us, it's great. We still work with them every other week to go further and to also bring in other projects, out of their ecosystem. So I just saw today their job board. I think it's now 96 companies that they invested in. So yeah, it's a big community. We are also connected to their alumni, and so this is very helpful. I mean, they are one of the root causes that we are able to close the seed round. So we are very thankful for this help. Yeah, and we're looking forward to give back to our investors as well. As we are progressing and going towards our token launch at some point. Because this was a soft round, so the investors also get the opportunity to get them tokens in the future.
Fantastic. Mark, is there anything you'd like to add about our seed round closing?
Well, basically just saying a big thank you to everybody who believes in us, backs us, as Robin said, works with us. That's very exciting to connect the different ecosystems and networks. And I think we can all benefit from each other in shaping that Web3 world and the data economy. So very, very grateful and thankful.
Well, it's definitely a big step for all of us. And this is a journey that you guys have been on and that now I'm very grateful to be a part of as well. But let's get back to business, I guess, because that's all well and good. But now we've got to do something with that investment round. So if we can talk a little bit about the Amasa partnership as well that we just announced very recently. Robin or Mark, I don't know who would prefer to go first on this one.
Yeah, so Amasa is a community around connecting people with micro tasks and income opportunities. So for us, this is a no-brainer. We've been talking with them for a longer time now, and now we finally got the chance, to make it formal in a partnership. So like our goal here is to really then connect the data unions that are part of the future that we're building to individuals and grow with this community. So like for us, it's important, to get connected to many people. They are really also putting a big focus on the education part, which we also like, so then we can maybe save some time as well and it's always important, to form networks of networks. So they are already a network. We are building a network. So I think that this comes together very, very well.
Yeah, I
There's a
think
lot
it
to be
also illustrates nicely how the networks can connect with other partners, where you share interests and can also collaborate on technical connections. But as Robin said, also helping people to get deeper, educate themselves, experiment. I think there's a long way to go. We all went that route. Some say down the rabbit hole. Sometimes you dive up again, and everybody has a personal experiences. And I think those are the key ones that may bring communities, ecosystems, and projects alive. That people get excited and understand the actual potential, not only from the technology, but the whole ecosystems.
I think all I was going to say, and I think you've said it very well there, Mark, is the idea of this cross-pollination, especially in Web3, in the world where we're all living and breathing at the moment, which is very much about collaboration. How do we all get involved? How do we all help each other? How can we all do something together that brings value to everyone involved? So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be able to announce more about what we want to do with Amasa and how we can do things together in the future. But for now, we're going to move on to another announcement, which hasn't actually come on. This is another first for the AMA, but something that we've been working on for quite some time. And I think, Mark, I'm going to go over to you for this one first. We have a very exciting generative art collection that we are working with a impact-led project. I won't take away from your thunder. I'll let you do the introduction, but would you tell everyone a little bit about Plastics and DataUnion and how we're working together?
Yeah, I think Plastics is a great example of what we just said, of connecting the ecosystems. We got to know Plastics in the founders community of Flori Ventures, one of our investors. And I think it's a great example where we started exploring, getting to know each other's projects based on the Salo blockchain. And I got amazed with the idea of the Plastics marketplace to capture and certify recycling impacts, basically to provide companies the opportunities to document and basically buy the information back that plastic bottles and any kind of plastics got recycled. And then the team reached out and realized that just the certification might be a bit boring, actually. It's just kind of a technical certification in that way. And they started working with artist groups to actually enrich this certification connected with digital art pieces. And that is where DataUnion came in, and we were exploring how can images in our unions, for instance, turn into generative art. Gave us the opportunity to experiment with algorithms on top of the images. We could see what differences it make if you adapt the data or you adapt the algorithms. And together we could support their launch of the marketplace, where now these generative or generated arts can be visible in our plastic union. And we're now working with a couple of more artists and people, creative people exploring the digital art there to drive that further and see how that way unions, generative art can support actually sustainability and the impact and help clean up the world from plastic.
Fantastic. Robin, is there anything that you'd like to add in terms of the technical side of the generative art?
So yeah, from the technical side, generative art for us is a very important piece of the puzzle. I think this is really a great use case where you can go from data contribution, data enrichment, to train new algorithms, to the part where you then actually create an NFT and sell this to somebody. It's like you have then a really end-to-end in a complete digital way. So that's a great example from my side. We just saw recently DALL-E 2 came out. So that's a really, really big new invention. So let's see when this will be open source available. And we can also then create new images from this technology. So for us, this is a fascinating piece of technology, and also something that we want to make available also somewhere else outside of plastics. Important piece of technology from my point of view. Important algorithm too.
I think that was Robin's way of inviting anybody who's looking at the generative art ideas and how they can do data visualization to feel free to jump into our community and say hello, give us a wave, and I'm sure that we'd be happy to have a conversation around how we could help support that. And especially when it is for impact. I think this is one of the really good things that we're seeing about Web3, a lot of impact-led projects where they can use this technology and they can find different ways of representing this and not just trying to sell, as Mark mentioned, a technical certificate at the end of it. So there's a lot more to be said about that. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to share a lot more, including some of the generative art with our community and in our official announcement, probably next week. So as April has just flown by, but we did also have Amsterdam Blockchain Week, and Mark was very lucky or unlucky, depending on which way you look at it. He didn't have to travel very far. So Mark attended a few events there, and I just wanted to find out, Mark, how did you find Amsterdam Blockchain Week and what were your thoughts?
Well, it was, of course, amazing that all the community could gather again. Yeah, so I think that was the biggest joy for everybody, being out there, meeting in person, yeah, especially in the Web3 world, seeing people and mates and friends that we typically know from the channels and the pseudonyms. So to meet in real person, and that was great. Yeah, I think it was great to everybody who organized it and offered these opportunities. And of course, for me, it was great to be around and that close by in Amsterdam. There were many different events and communities gathering. I think cross-pollinating a bit, that's the red thread I think that we see happening. And we had not only myself there, but also our union partners, our friends from Algovera and from Lynx, joining some of the hackathons, and for instance the DeSci, the Decentralized Science Conference, which is a fairly new, I would say. It wasn't the kickoff, but still young community exploring the Web3 in the crossover with science and research. Very exciting projects, connecting with streams and existing talks around open science and supporting, leveraging that. But also projects taking the open source initiatives and experience of the last years into the Web3, and of course a lot of impact initiatives and talks around Gitcoin, for instance. So many exciting topics. We're also very happy that Lynx, one of our partners, won an award for their hackathon and their ideas and projects there. So that's, I think, a great way to see how we not only can meet in person, but where different projects kind of advance the ecosystem and make the unions livable and visible.
It is quite a weird one when we all think about the fact that the last 2 years we've done a lot. We've spoken to a lot of people. We've met a lot of new people, but actually we've done very little of it face to face. So I won't lie, I'm jealous. I've still been on Zoom calls for this whole month. Okay, so moving on then, we're going to talk a little bit about our DataUnion Stewards. And this is going to be a fairly new theme for some of you listening or watching this video on replay. And there's a good reason for that. We haven't spoken about it in a huge amount of detail publicly, as it is something that is just like the rest of what we do in Web3 and specifically at DataUnion, that we are currently building with the DataUnion stewards themselves. But Mark, could you give us a few little words as a bit of an introduction as to how we see a DataUnion steward's role in the ecosystem?
Yeah, the name already says it in a way. It's somebody who stewards an initiative or a union. At the moment, we're working with this term of a steward, which is comes a bit from the community space, and gives maybe a bit of a different notion to than somebody being a manager or a leader or so. and deliberately choosing for that to actually underline the spirit of that person and that role, in kind of bringing a couple of different capabilities and skills and passions together, that are core to, on the one side, or sometimes igniting a project, bringing people together around a joint challenge. Could be an AI challenge, could be a data challenge, but basically connecting the people around the idea, but also facilitating them into the Web3 space, connecting, let's say, existing partners in Web2, could be industry partners, if you talk about IoT, for instance, and helping everybody finding their space, their role, their journey, how you would say, to discover actually what we said earlier we went through over last months and years. So that, I think, is a key role that on the one side probably is driven by an own passion or a specific purpose, but also has the entrepreneurial mindset to bring something into fruition and launch something, and on the other side be a viable and key member of the ecosystem, not just shaping their own union, but also contributing to the overall ecosystem, the governance, and shaping up the ecosystem that is just emerging. So very excited to see a lot of great people there and working with them.
Robin, is there anything that you would like to add in terms of anyone in particular out there that's thinking about DataUnion, that's trying to figure out what the next stages are? How could they get involved, and maybe how could they get in touch with us to talk about becoming a DataUnion steward or being put in touch with a DataUnion steward? So
yeah, from my point of view, I mean, these stewards also were not stewards from the first day, that we met them. So it's also a process, So if you're interested to go deeper into and connect deeper to our ecosystem, it's good if you reach out to us and connect with us. So like, I think there are many people that we are engaging with all the time. So like, it's more and more projects that come into us, and we're working together with them. Some of them turn out to be stewards. Most of the people are more interested in their own project than into shaping the ecosystem more and more. But there's something that can develop over time. So I would suggest, if you're interested, if this sparks some kind of interest in yourself, reach out to us, join our Discord, become part of our community, and then we can develop around your ideas. So like, that's basically also a big part that we are doing, is like to do consulting, to help people who have ideas. And then to also help them make them reality. So like, and the stewards basically are also our extension, so like, these are people who have proven themselves so much that they can stand on their own, like they're driving our mission forward, the ecosystem, and basically taking over a big part of it, which helps us also with the scalability. So without stewards, we're not enough people to drive all of this project forward. So like, it's important that we find more and more people to rely on to help us.
I think I've referred to them sometimes internally as digital Sherpas that are helping people on this journey and on the way to getting to where they need to go, with the help of DataUnion as support, but more importantly, helping again bring together the right kind of people to do things and actually make things happen. So we will be releasing a lot more information over the coming weeks. Again, this has been a lot of firsts on today's AMA more than anything else. But the last thing before we do wrap up is going to be about something that we are very excited about as well, which is coming in May. We have the Sovereign Nature Initiative event coming up, but we are going to be performing an experiment. So Robin, I'm going to turn to you to talk a little bit about what we've got planned and what's going to be happening with SNI.
Yeah, so the interesting part, what you already mentioned earlier, is that over the last 2 years, everything basically happened digital. So SNI was also born in the last 2 years. So like, all the events were digital. Hackathons were the one that we were winning, and everything else. So now this is the first real life event. It's happening in Amsterdam on 21st. So like, if you're close to the location, if you want to come, I think it will be worth the travel. Mark and I will be there in presenting a DataUnion around this event on location. So we're also going to be there for some time to do some real life events. So if you're in the location, if you live there anyways, also good time to have a chat or coffee or beer or however you like it. But the event basically is around showing technology and how it can make nature more sovereign. How can people in such an event connect to nature, learn something about nature? How can sensors and technology help nature, to have a voice, for example, or how to give nature sovereignty back by itself making some money. So like our prototype is going to be very event driven. So like it's around showing with a mobile app that you can collect data and how everybody in the event can start collecting data, how they can get something out of it, an NFT, and then like shaping a community around the people who did that, and basically showcasing, and also if you trade these NFTs, that nature can then get something back from it. But in the end, like it's a way to your first NFT without having to buy something on a marketplace. You start getting that by contributing data. So I think that's also important. And in the end, we want to showcase, okay, like this is something that we work on for 1 month, and we then have a DataUnion around the event. We can capture data, we can capture location information. In the future, we will then can add some missions that certain things are going to happen. At the moment, really we open and looking for feedback and conversations. That's also what the event is very much about, like inviting people, discussing the topic, and especially meeting all of the people that we just know from online events.
Mark, is there anything that you wanted to add?
No, I think it's just another example that complex topics like sustainability at some point here in the location. I know the Keuvel, the location in Amsterdam. I know it for a long time. When they initiated it, and it's a great place to hang out. So it's always exciting to see how, let's say, the reality in a way connects then with the Web3, or others would maybe say the metaverse at some point. And a lot of experiments still going on around that, and us being part of that is super exciting. And yeah, the topic of nature and giving an identity to it. There are many also projects around us to see what impact that has, what nature has to tell us. And I think if we can support these dialogues, explorations, or people, citizens, empowering them with more data, more insights, I think that's a great journey, and looking forward to everybody who joins us on that journey.
And again, another perfect example. I think it was back in February that we took part in the Winter Hackathon, and all the amazing people that we met again online in a metaverse. But it'd be fantastic to actually get to see people face to face and meet people again. And one more time, Mark, I don't know if it's lucky or unlucky, but you won't be traveling far. So that's another good sign of another event.
I think happening. Amsterdam is the hotspot for Web3. So
it does seem that way. So there's going to be a flock of people moving now to Amsterdam. Fantastic, guys. That's everything for today. We are super excited about what's coming up this month. We have a load of new announcements, lots of educational content that we're going to be pushing out. We're going to be introducing new members of the team. We're going to be introducing some of our stewards. So we have lots coming up. The best place to hang out with us and to be able to find all that information would be our Discord. But if not, always remember as well, you can find us on LinkedIn and Twitter. All the links are below in the description for the video. If you have any questions and you're watching this as a replay, please do feel free to message either here or directly into Discord, and we will happily answer. And as Robin said as well, get involved in the community and see how you could be more involved. See if becoming a DataUnion steward could be right for you, or maybe you want to set up your own DataUnion. Either way, we're happy to meet you guys, and we'd love to have a conversation. Mark, Robin, thank you so much for your time today again. And unless you've got any closing remarks that you'd like to say, I think we'll call this one and say thank you to everyone and see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.